We're up here on Garrett's property, and as I'm sure you saw coming, I'm a full preterist. If you've made it this far in my journey, will you walk with me just a little bit further? As I stated earlier, this is a highly condensed version of my journey. I threw up every roadblock I could think of, but the scriptures kept knocking them down. I didn't go without a fight. I even read books that refuted preterism, but in my opinion, they didn't refute it. Sure, they raised some good questions, but not enough to counter the basic tenets of preterism. I had unanswered questions when I was a futurist. Now I tell people that I've traded one set of questions for another, but I'm much more comfortable with this new set of questions. Even though I don't completely understand details like the resurrection and the millennium, I'm much more comfortable assuming that their fulfillments are somewhat spiritual in nature than I am doing twisty, stretchy things with all of the time statements. That's because the New Testament is full of examples of spiritual fulfillment, like the hills, valleys, and crooked paths in the ministry of John the Baptist, the sun not shining, the moon turning to blood, or the woman at the well and living water. Yet there is not one example of either Jesus or the New Testament authors spiritualizing a time statement. Consider this. The reason that the Jews didn't receive Jesus as their Messiah wasn't because he didn't come when they were expecting him, but because he didn't come in the manner or nature in which they expected him. Likewise, the disciples understood when the second coming of Elijah was to occur, but they didn't understand the nature of his second coming. Could this same principle apply to the second coming of Christ? Other questions that are often raised are, does it really matter? And does the church need another issue to divide over? Well, the answer to the second question is no. We're divided over enough already. But as for the first question, does truth matter? Jesus and the New Testament authors taught that Christ was coming back in their generation. Were they telling the truth? R.C. Sproul writes that what is at stake here is the authority of Jesus, and we must be consumed with maintaining his authority. You see, some people actually teach that Jesus and the New Testament authors were mistaken about the time of Christ's return. Famous Christian apologist C.S. Lewis wrote,
"Say what you like, we shall be told, the apocalyptic beliefs of the first Christians have been proved to be false. It is clear from the New Testament that they all expected the second coming in their own lifetime, and, worse still, they had a reason, and one which you will find very embarrassing. Their master had told them so. He shared and indeed created their delusion. He said in so many words, 'This generation shall not pass till all these things be done.' And he was wrong. He clearly knew no more about the end of the world than anyone else. It is certainly the most embarrassing verse in the Bible."
I don't know about you, but I'd rather be embarrassed about what C.S. Lewis said than about what Jesus said. I agree with R.C. Sproul, who said, no, I'll let you listen to it from his own lips so that you can hear the passion in his voice.
People have attacked the credibility of Jesus. You know, maybe the church fathers made a mistake. Maybe our favorite theologians have made mistakes. And I can abide with that. I can't abide with Jesus being a false prophet. Because I understand that if Jesus is a false prophet, my faith is in vain.
If Jesus and the New Testament apostles were wrong about the time of Christ's second coming, what else might they have been wrong about? Our salvation, perhaps? Another important item is, what is the position of the church today? Are we the ministers of a full and complete gospel? Or are we still waiting for Christ to appear from heaven a second time, apart from sin, for salvation? Are we the church upon which the gates of hell cannot prevail? Or are we merely holding our own until he comes to rescue us? Noted dispensationalist Ed Hindson writes that because the king is not yet returned, we are not winning the battle for world dominion, and we never will. Are we the church victorious, or the church come rescue us? So, does it matter? I think that it does. Does it divide? Sure, but since when is truth not divided? Yet even if we don't agree on these issues, if we continue to study and allow our journeys to bring us closer to the cross, will that not also bring us closer to one another? As brief and condensed as this testimony has been, I hope that I have walked you over the major hurdles and softened the shock factor of preterism enough to arouse your curiosity to begin your own study. God bless you as you study His Word.